Mendeecees like, why him without Yandy? She on the yacht with a fine. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Is that not her? Yeah. Is that not her? Let me show you this.
Hold on, what man?
Whoa. The one she with.
Who with it?
Puerto Rico was supposed to be a tropical escape, sunshine, cocktails, and calm vibes. But for the love and hip-hop Atlanta crew, it quickly turned into ground zero for the season's most explosive confrontation yet. When Momma Dee arrived, she didn't come to sip margaritas or make peace. She came armed with secrets and the determination to expose Yandy and Mendeecees in front of everyone. What began as whispers behind closed doors erupted into a storm of accusations, betrayals, and jaw-dropping revelations that no one saw coming. Alliances crumbled, reputations were tested, and the truth threatened to destroy relationships forever. As the cameras rolled and tensions reached their breaking point, one thing became clear: nothing about this trip would stay in Puerto Rico. This wasn't just drama, it was a reckoning. And Momma Dee was about to light the match. In the world of reality television, drama isn't just expected, it's the heartbeat that keeps millions of viewers glued to their screens. And for over a decade, no show has delivered that pulse quite like Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. A whirlwind of love, betrayal, loyalty, and lies. The series has given audiences front row seats to the highs and lows of Atlanta's hip-hop elite. But even among the most explosive moments, Season 13 promised something different, something darker, deeper, and more shocking than anything that had come before. And at the center of it all stood one woman, Momma Dee. For longtime fans, Momma Dee needs no introduction. Known for her fiery temper, unapologetic attitude, no filtered truth bombs, she's been a cornerstone of LHHATL drama since the early days. A matriarchal figure who sees herself as royalty, the queen of the castle, as she often calls herself. Momma Dee has never been one to sit silently when things get messy. And this season, the mess was brewing hotter than ever. But before the storm erupted in Puerto Rico, things seemed relatively calm, at least on the surface. Cast members were focused on their careers, relationships, and rebuilding connections that had been tested time and time again. Yandy Smith Harris and Mendeecees Harris were working to strengthen their marriage after years of public scrutiny and private struggles. Once hailed as one of the show's power couples, their relationship had weathered everything from incarceration to infidelity rumors. Too many. They were living proof that love could survive the pressures of fame. But not everyone was convinced. The picture-perfect image they projected was the whole truth. Meanwhile, Momma Dee was watching from the sidelines. She had been part of the LHHATL universe long enough to know that behind every happy Instagram post and carefully curated storyline, there were secrets. Secrets that could change everything if brought to light. And as the season progressed, began to hint that she knew more than she was letting on. "I'm not one to start drama," she said in a confessional interview, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "But if the truth needs to be told, then baby, the queen will deliver it." Elsewhere in Atlanta, the cast was trying to keep the peace. Old rivalries had cooled, and new alliances were forming. Rashida and Kirk Frost were focusing on expanding their business empire, while young Jock was navigating the ups and downs of love and fatherhood. It was a rare moment of relative stability in a show built on chaos. But as fans know too well, calm in the love and hip-hop universe is always temporary, and often, it's the quiet before the biggest storm. The decision to film a group trip to Puerto Rico was pitched as a chance for everyone to reconnect, reset, and rebuild. A beautiful island backdrop, a luxurious villa, and days filled with sun and celebration. What could possibly go wrong? For producers, it was the perfect recipe for drama. Mix unresolved tension, old wounds, and too much champagne, and watch the fireworks explode. But even they couldn't predict just how intense things would get once Momma Dee stepped onto that plane. Behind the scenes, whispers had already started. Rumors of betrayal, accusations of manipulation, allegations that Yandy and Mendeecees weren't being as honest about their lives as they claimed. It wasn't the first time gossip had swirled around them, but this time felt different. more personal, more targeted. And as the cast packed their bags for paradise, an unspoken tension lingered in the air. Momma Dee, of course, knew exactly what she was doing. She had been sitting on information, some say receipts, that she believed the world deserved to know. And for someone like her, there was no better place to drop a bombshell than in front of cameras, castmates, and millions of viewers. "I don't do fake," she teased in a pre-trip interview. "And I don't play pretend family when I know the truth. If people want to live a lie, that's their business. But when it affects me and the people I care about, I will speak up." It was classic Momma Dee, dramatic, defiant, and determined to expose what she believed was hypocrisy. And as the jet touched down on the sun-soaked island of Puerto Rico, the stage was set for a showdown that would shake the cast to its core. For now, though the group was still clinging to the illusion of a peaceful getaway. Welcome dinners were shared, toasts were made, and laughs echoed through the villa. The tension was there, simmering just beneath the surface, but no one dared acknowledge it. Not yet. Because deep down, they all knew. When Momma Dee is holding a secret, it's only a matter of time before she drops it. And when she does, there's no going back. As the first night in Puerto Rico ended and the cast retreated to their rooms, viewers could feel the shift. This wasn't going to be just another tropical cast trip. This was going to be the moment, the turning point when long-hidden truths would be revealed. Alliances would fracture and reputations would be forever changed. The storm was coming, and Momma Dee was the lightning. From the outside, everything still looked picture perfect. The cast was smiling for selfies, sharing cocktails by the pool, and trying to play nice under the Caribbean sun. But beneath the beautiful backdrop of Puerto Rico, tension was quietly brewing, and it was only getting hotter by the day. Momma Dee wasn't just on vacation. She was on a mission. And that mission was about to rattle the foundations of love and hip-hop. Atlanta's most talked about couple, Yandy and Mendeecees, for years. Yandy and Mendeecees had been one of the franchise's most stable love stories, at least on camera. Fans had followed their journey from the very beginning, their rise in the industry, their love story, their emotional wedding, and the difficult years spent apart while Mendeecees served time. Through it all, Yandy was painted as the loyal wife who held it down, the strong woman who kept the family together no matter the cost. But as any reality TV veteran knows, the truth behind the cameras is rarely as simple as it seems. Whispers had been circulating in Atlanta for months, whispers that Yandy and Mendeecees' perfect image wasn't so perfect after all. Rumors of manipulation, shady deals, and behind-the-scenes betrayals had begun to surface. Some accused Yandy of using her relationship to boost her public profile. Others claimed Mendeecees hadn't been nearly as loyal as fans were led to believe. And according to Momma Dee, there were receipts to back it all up. She's not who y'all think she is. Momma Dee hinted to a fellow cast member during one of the trip's early scenes. And when I say I know the truth, believe me, I know the truth. At first, most of the group brushed off Momma Dee's comments as typical Dee drama, the kind of exaggerated shade she was known for. But there was something different this time. Her tone was colder, more serious. It wasn't just messy gossip. It felt like she was sitting on something explosive, and she wasn't the only one sensing that. Something was off. Even Yandy herself seemed on edge. Usually composed and camera-ready, she appeared unusually guarded during group scenes. Her smiles were a little too practiced, her words a little too measured. And every time Momma Dee entered the room, that guard tightened even more. "Why does she keep looking over here?" Yandy whispered to a friend during a dinner scene. "I feel like she's plotting something." Meanwhile, Mendeecees tried to play it cool. He brushed off questions about their relationship, insisted everything was fine, and urged Yandy not to give the drama energy. But even he couldn't ignore the growing sense of dread in the air. "Dee likes attention," he said in a confessional. "She thrives on chaos. And if she thinks she's going to come for me or my wife, she better come correct." Oh. But Momma Dee wasn't just throwing empty threats. As the trip went on, she started dropping breadcrumbs, subtle comments, pointed questions, and carefully timed jabs that hinted at a bigger story waiting to break. At one point, During what was supposed to be a lighthearted poolside conversation, she turned to Yandy and asked, "So, tell me, how does it feel to build an empire on secrets?" The table fell silent. "What's that supposed to mean?" Yandy asked, clearly rattled. "Oh, nothing," Momma Dee replied with a smirk. "I just think it's interesting how people present one version of their life to the world, when the real story is a whole lot messier." It was a classic Momma Dee move, vague enough to deny, sharp enough to cut deep. And from that moment, the mood shifted. Everyone knew something was coming. It wasn't a question of if she would drop the bomb, only when. Behind closed doors, conversations started happening. Cast members whispered about what Momma Dee might know. Some believed it had to do with infidelity. Others thought it was financial rumors of shady business deals or unpaid debts. A few even speculated that it was about Mendeecees' time away and things that happened during his incarceration. Whatever it was big enough to shake Yandy and Mendeecees' carefully crafted image. People have been protecting them for too long. Momma Dee said to producers off camera, "But the truth doesn't stay buried forever. And when it comes out, oh baby, it's gonna come out loud." Even those closest to Yandy started questioning what they knew. Was the relationship really as strong as it seemed? Had Mendeecees truly been faithful? And what secrets was Yandy hiding behind that polished public persona? By the third night in Puerto Rico, the tension was unbearable. Every dinner turned into a minefield. Every group activity felt like a setup. And Yandy, usually one of the most composed figures on the show, was showing cracks. "She's not going to ruin this trip for me," Yandy told a friend, frustration in her voice. "I've worked too hard, been through too much, and I'm not going to let somebody else's bitterness tear me down." But deep down, she knew it wasn't bitterness fueling Momma Dee. It was knowledge. And knowledge, in Dee's hands, was the deadliest weapon of all. As the group prepared for what was supposed to be a peaceful final dinner, viewers could feel the storm cloud forming overhead. The stage was set, the players were in position, and the audience was holding its breath. Momma Dee had spent the entire trip planting seeds of doubt. Now she was ready to harvest the chaos. In less than 24 hours. Puerto Rico would no longer be remembered for its beaches or sunsets. It would be remembered as the place where one of love and hip-hop, Atlanta's most beloved couples, faced their most public reckoning yet. The truth was coming. Nothing could stop it now. The tension in Puerto Rico had been building like a thunderstorm, slow, steady, and impossible to ignore. Every glance, every side conversation, every offhand comment from Momma Dee only added fuel to the fire. And on the final night of the trip, that fire erupted into an inferno no one was prepared for. The cast had gathered for what producers promised would be a celebratory farewell dinner, a chance to toast to new beginnings, stronger bonds, and the healing of old wounds. But if reality TV has taught us anything, it's that celebrations are often just the calm before the chaos. And this dinner would go down in love and hip-hop history as one of the most explosive moments the franchise had ever seen. The setting was picture perfect, a long, candlelit table overlooking the Puerto Rican coastline, music softly playing in the background, and plates of gourmet food being served. But beneath the laughter and small talk, there was a silent, shared understanding. Something was about to happen. Momma Dee sat near the center of the table, her posture regal, her expression unreadable. She had been quieter than usual all day, which only made everyone more uneasy. Yandy, sitting a few seats down with Mendeecees by her side, tried to ignore the tension, but her eyes kept darting toward Dee. Mendeecees remained calm on the surface, but his jaw was tight, a clear sign that he was bracing for whatever storm was coming. Halfway through dinner, after the wine had been poured and the toasts had been made, Momma Dee cleared her throat. The table fell silent. She slowly rose to her feet, her gaze sweeping across the group like a queen addressing her court. "I've been quiet long enough," she began, her voice cutting through the night air. "And y'all know me, I don't do fake. I don't smile in people's faces when I know they're lying. And I damn sure don't sit at a table breaking bread with folks who pretend to be something they're not." A nervous ripple of chatter moved around the table. Yandy shifted in her seat. "If this is about me," she said cautiously, "you should say it directly." "Oh, it's definitely about you," Momma Dee shot back. "It's about you and your man. And this perfect little fairy tale y'all love selling to the world." Gasps erupted. Mendeecees.com mask slipped for the first time. "Watch your mouth, Dee," he warned. "Don't play with my family." But Momma Dee wasn't backing down. She had waited too long, carried too much, and now in front of the cameras and the cast, she was ready to spill everything. "Tell them, Yandy," she said, leaning forward. "Tell them about the deal. Tell them about how you use people to climb your way to the top. Tell them how you knew things wasn't right, but you stayed quiet because the cameras were rolling." Yandy's face flushed with anger. "You don't know what you're talking about." "Oh, I do," Momma Dee snapped. "I know about the deals Mendeecees made while he was locked up. I know about the promises he broke when he got out. And I know about the people you stepped on to build this little empire. Don't act innocent now. The streets talk. And baby, I listen." The table exploded in chaos. Cast members shouted over each other, trying to piece together what Momma Dee was implying. Yandy stood up, trembling with rage. "You're lying. Everything you're saying is a lie. Am I?" Momma Dee shot back, her eyes narrowing. "Then explain why half of Atlanta knows about the woman Mendeecees was seeing while you were out here branding yourself as the loyal wife. Explain why your so-called family business left people unpaid. Explain why enough." Mendeecees slammed his fist on the table, silencing the crowd. "You're crossing the line." But Momma Dee wasn't finished. "No, you crossed the line when you disrespected people and thought nobody would ever say anything. You built a brand on loyalty and love, but it's all smoke and mirrors, and it's time the truth came out." The confrontation spiraled into a shouting match. Yandy accused Momma Dee of spreading lies for clout. Momma Dee accused Yandy of hiding behind a fake image. Mendeecees tried to defend himself, but was drowned out by the noise. Cameras captured every tear, every curse, every raw, unfiltered emotion. It was reality TV gold. But for those involved, it was deeply personal. Years of secrets, resentment, and betrayal had just been thrown into the open. And nothing would ever be the same. At one point, Rashida tried to intervene. "This isn't the time or place," she pleaded. "We came here to heal, not to tear each other apart." But it was too late. The damage was done. The bomb had been dropped and the fallout was already spreading. Yandy, visibly shaken, stormed away from the table, refusing to continue filming. Mendeecees followed, but not before shooting Momma Dee a look that could kill. "You're gonna regret this," he muttered under his breath. The remaining cast members sat in stunned silence. Some whispered about the allegations. Others wondered what would happen next. But one thing was clear. The facade had crumbled. The power couple image Yandy and Mendeecees had spent years building was now under public scrutiny, and Momma Dee had lit the match dot as the cameras rolled into the night. Viewers at home were left with more questions than answers. Were Momma Dee's claims true? Had Yandy and Mendeecees been hiding a darker truth all along? Or was this just another case of reality TV revenge gone too far? Whatever the truth, the confrontation in Puerto Rico marked a turning point for love and hip-hop. Atlanta. This wasn't just gossip. This was a reckoning, one that would ripple through friendships, careers, and reputations long after the cameras stopped rolling. The night of the Puerto Rico confrontation changed everything. What was meant to be a tropical getaway had turned into a battleground, and by the time the cameras stopped rolling, the cast of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta was left reeling. For days, the echoes of that dinner table explosion lingered in the air, whispered conversations, unanswered questions, and broken trust filling every room of the villa. The morning after the confrontation, the atmosphere was icy. Yandy and Mendeecees were nowhere to be found, having locked themselves away from the rest of the cast. According to producers, Yandy had demanded privacy, refusing to film until she had time to process what had happened. The image-conscious star who had built her reputation on strength and grace was now facing one of the most humiliating moments of her reality TV career. Meanwhile, Momma Dee was unapologetic. In fact, she felt vindicated. "They can hate me all they want," she told producers in a confessional the next morning. "But I spoke the truth. And the truth don't need permission to be heard." For some cast members, however, the fallout was more complicated. Rashida, who had been friends with both Yandy and Momma Dee, found herself caught in the middle. "I get where Dee is coming from," she admitted, "but the way she did it, it was messy. This isn't how you heal a situation, this is how you blow it up." Young Jock echoed the sentiment. "Look, we all got secrets," he said. "But there's a difference between addressing something and ambushing somebody on camera." That was cold. Yet despite the criticism, others quietly admitted that Momma Dee had raised questions people had been too afraid to ask. The rumors about Yandy and Mendeecees had been swirling for years. They just needed someone bold enough to bring them to light. And Momma Dee had never been afraid to be the villain if it meant exposing the truth. As filming continued, the aftermath of the confrontation dominated every conversation. Yandy and Mendeecees eventually returned to the group, but the damage was already done. Tension hung heavy in the air during every group scene. Conversations were cautious, smiles were forced, and the once tight bond between the cast felt fractured beyond repair. In one of the season's most emotional moments, Yandy sat down for a one-on-one confessional and broke her silence. "I feel betrayed," she said, tears streaming down her face. "I've supported this show. I've supported these people. And for someone I thought was family to attack me like that, to throw out lies and half-truths on national TV, it hurts. It really, really hurts." Mendeecees, too, addressed the situation, though his tone was far more defiant. "I'm not perfect," he admitted. "I've made mistakes. But a man's past doesn't define his future. And no amount of gossip is going to break my family." But the damage control was only beginning. Social media erupted the night the episode aired. Fans flooded Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok with their opinions, some siding with Momma Dee for keeping it real, others blasting her for being messy and malicious. Hashtags like #D exposes the truth and #YandyYVs detrended for days. And online debates about loyalty, betrayal, and reality TV ethics dominated conversations. Even bloggers and media outlets jumped into the frenzy. Entertainment news sites dissected every detail of Momma Dee's allegations, while fan podcasts speculated about the real story behind Yandy and Mendeecees' marriage. Some claimed Momma Dee's accusations were rooted in jealousy. Others believed she had revealed what many in the industry had known for years but never dared to say out loud. Behind the scenes, producers were thrilled. The Puerto Rico episode had already become one of the most talked about moments in the show's history, with ratings soaring and engagement skyrocketing. But for the cast, the scars were deeper than ratings or headlines. Trust had been shattered. Alliances had shifted. And the once solid foundation of love and hip-hop, Atlanta, had cracked under the weight of truth and betrayal. In the weeks that followed, Yandy and Mendeecees focused on repairing their image. They released statements on social media, shared family photos, and even appeared in interviews to address the controversy. They painted the situation as a misunderstanding, fueled by old drama, and emphasized their commitment to moving forward together. Momma Dee, however, refused to back down. In interviews of her own, she doubled down on her claims and hinted that she still had more information that hadn't been revealed. "I said what I said," she told one outlet. "And if they keep playing with me, I'll say even more." The tension between the two sides became the defining storyline of season 13. Every reunion, every group event, every social media post seemed to circle back to that fateful night in Puerto Rico. And for fans, it was must-watch TV, messy, dramatic, and deeply human. But beyond the drama, there was a deeper lesson buried beneath the headlines. In the world of reality television, the line between entertainment and reality is razor thin. The personas we see on screen are carefully crafted, but they're built on real people, real feelings, and real consequences. And when secrets are exposed, whether for revenge, ratings, or righteousness, the fallout can change lives forever. For Yandy and Mendeecees, the road ahead was uncertain. Would their marriage survive the public scrutiny? Could they rebuild the trust that had been shattered in front of millions? And would fans ever see them the same way again? For Momma Dee, the controversy only solidified her place as one of love and hip-hop, Atlanta's most iconic figures, unapologetic, unfiltered, and unafraid to speak her truth, no matter the cost. And for viewers, one thing was certain: the Puerto Rico trip wasn't just another storyline. It was a turning point, a moment that redefined relationships, reputations, and the very fabric of the show itself. The dust may have settled on the beaches of Puerto Rico, but the echoes of that night still reverberate through the halls of reality television. What happened at that dinner table wasn't just entertainment, it was a collision of truth, betrayal, and power that peeled back the curtain on a world many of us thought we understood. And now, the question isn't whether the drama is over, it's whether this is only the beginning, Momma. Dee's bold decision to expose Yandy and Mendeecees has forced fans, cast members, and critics alike to rethink everything they thought they knew about love and hip-hop. Atlanta. Was she a whistleblower bravely telling the truth, or a fire starter fueled by old grudges and unresolved pain? And can Yandy and Mendeecees truly rebuild their image after such a public unraveling? The answers are still unfolding, and that's why this story matters. Reality TV is more than just cameras and confessionals. It's a mirror reflecting the messy, complicated reality of love, ambition, and loyalty. And if there's one thing we've learned from Puerto Rico, it's that the truth always has a way of coming out. So here's where you come in. Don't just watch from the sidelines. Join the conversation. Share your thoughts, theories, and reactions. Do you believe Momma Dee was justified in exposing the truth? Or did she cross the line? Has your opinion of Yandy and Mendeecees changed forever? Hit that subscribe button, leave a comment below, and turn on notifications, because this storm is far from over. The drama is only deepening. The secrets are only getting darker. And the next chapter of love and hip-hop, Atlanta, promises to be even more explosive than the last.